Okay, what you do is you
want to go to York first? You want to go to York first? Oh, let's go
separate the eggs.
Let's go downstairs.
Separate the eggs. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm separating the eggs. Separating the eggs. Always gotta separate the eggs, you guys. I'm separating 4 eggs. How many ounces of cream cheese you use? You use 1 ounce per egg. One ounce per egg. Now let's get the cream cheese. You can add something like butter to it, but you don't have to. No, let's open the cream cheese. It's 1 ounce per egg. So one of these is 8 ounces. So what I'm gonna do is take a knife and cut 8 ounces. With 4 ounces. Cut 4 ounces. Because it's 1 ounce per egg. Break this. That's how you do it. Ounce per egg. How much you put I think that's good enough. Just back in the box. Put it back in the box. I use half of this, but put this back in the box. How much so you put this on and then you just beat this. I guess do the video. You can see it's beating the egg right now. Beating the egg. How much baking powder do you add? And then mix it. I'll show you the consistency of this so you guys know what it looks like. You guys see that? The consistency of it? That's the consistency of the egg yolk. And you can see the egg yolk and the cream cheese. You can see that. And then you can see this. This is the egg whites.
Why sit down? Tony, why sit down?
Spatula. I'll show you what the consistency you want.
What are you doing?
So, you can see how peak you want it. You might want it. I don't know. You guys can see this. Do you want it so that it's peaked? You see, it doesn't fall. It falls down by itself, but you might want it. You might want to beat it a little bit more than that, depending on how. Depending on how peaked you want it. For me, I like it a little bit more peaked than that. Like, you want it a little bit stiffer, you can beat it longer, which I'm going to do. I'm going to beat it longer. It's up to you and how stiff you want it though. How stiff do you want it? Maybe a little bit. Adding baking powder to this. Baking powder, you guys. Always measure it. I'm adding one teaspoon. You can add a little bit of salt to it too if you want to. Totally up to you. Let me see how peaked this is. It looks more peaked than what it was. You see that? More peaked than what it was. It's holding up. I think this is better. I think this is good enough. This is good enough. So now what you do is this is peaked enough for me.
So if Donald Trump thought that he was just going to walk
mix
into
this some more.
Judge Cannon's court today, the that the appropriations for the special counsel was also unlawful, and as a result, the whole proceedings are a sham and should be dismissed. I think Donald Trump and his lawyers were in for a bit of a surprise on Friday. There was a pretty lengthy hearing before Judge Eileen Cannon. She opened up her courtroom very strangely to kind of random third parties, and necessarily random. The Citizens United got to walk on into the court and participate as though they were like involved in the case, even though they were a non-party who just submitted an amicus brief. Another right-wing group and another group that said this entire argument about unlawful appointment is absolutely nuts. And you go back to precedents spanning decades with
remember, guys, to
independent counsel, special counsels like this.
Preheat your oven first.
Acceptable, and there's a whole great deal of precedent. But it was interesting because Judge Cannon was very critical of this argument at the oral argument that the special counsel was unlawfully appointed. Yet she entertained.
Always preheat your oven first.
This whole full day hearing about it, where any other judge, based on the precedent, and I think, and I want to get your take, Ari Littman, would have at most heard it on the papers, but more likely even sua sponte, just like rejected the thing and not even entertained it to begin with.
So what you do
Littman in from Talking Feds, make sure you subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel and the Talking Feds podcast, partnered with the Midas Touch Network.
You take this mixture and you fold it.
That it even took place at all. But then again, when she was there, she seemed to do the right thing. But should we be applauding her for doing like the bare minimum basic thing? Was she trying to do that as a way to
fold it into the
circuit to look good, or is this just
the
showing
egg
that
white.
she's a loose cannon and inexperienced?
You know, maybe it's the broken clock theory, Ben, but it really does. Yes, she
You
was
pour a little bit in at a
rotated
time.
and
That's what you
aware
do.
that the law, volumes of it and years of it,
And you fold it in.
blow this argument out of the water. So what was she doing? The point you just made in
What you do
passing
is you fold it in like this.
real head scratcher.
You guys can see me folding it in. I don't know if you guys can
Come
see me folding it
and
in.
present argument. I've literally never heard of it at the district court level. I've never heard of it at any level unless it's the government. Even the Supreme Court, they don't have
You fold it
come
in.
and make arguments. And there may be a clue in who these amici were, at least the two on the side of Trump, which they are sort of conservative, pillars, and it's certainly
You're
consistent
supposed
with
to
that
fold it in so that
very
it
interesting
doesn't.
story in the New York Times about people trying to get her to get rid of the case early
Deflate.
on and her not doing it, that she could have been playing to a conservative vanguard in the making should Trump become president. But it was a case that didn't deserve the time of day. Certainly not 3 extra friends of the court there. It has to do with the appointments clause and whether the argument is,
Yeah,
hey,
you just fold
Smith
it
has so
in
much authority, he's actually
like
a
this.
principal
You don't want it
officer,
to
and that
deflate.
requires Senate confirmation. But I mean, this is so much water under the bridge. And if you think about her other rulings and her general strategy.
Yeah, you don't want it to deflate, you guys. Just fold it in. This this container might not be big enough, but
when I say this, I mean a bull cycle that started pretty much at the end of 2022 and has been going non-stop up until right now.
it worked
we've
for
gone
my
from
purpose.
3,800 on the S&P 500 to 5,500 in 18 months. That's a 19% return in 18 months. Absolutely insane. Now, Warren Buffett coined a very important phrase that basically goes like this. I'm about to butcher it, so forgive me. It basically says, look, when everybody's bearish, I'm bullish, and when everybody's bullish, I'm bearish. And right now, it seems there's a lot of
Let's see if
euphoria,
I can,
and a lot of bullishness in this market, a lot of retail participation. People want in on this party. That is
fold it
usually the
together
ingredient
in
when
like a
people start
bigger.
to smell the soup of the end of the rally. So a lot of people are anxious and worried that we might be getting close to the top of this
I think
market,
it's
and they
big
would
enough.
like to make some adjustments and prepare
I'm
themselves.
just trying to
in
fold
case
this
that
together
happens. Now, in this video, what I'm going to do
without
is I'm
making
going to
a
provide
big
you the
mess.
same answers I provide to myself. Because much like you, I'm also an investor, and I also really, really want to know.
So what you do, you guys, is after you fold it together like that, so you just fold it together, kind of this. You get like a. You get like a baking pan.
I absolutely understand and appreciate that people are vehemently unhappy with Israel, with
Get like a
Gaza,
baking
with
pan like
inflation.
this.
I am by no means here trying to claim that Joe Biden
I don't know,
is
you guys can
perfect,
see the
because
baking
he's not.
pan.
But here's the thing. They're never going to be perfect. I've never seen a politician in my entire life whose views align with mine.
And then you get some parchment paper. Get some parchment paper. And you line your pan. Line your pan with the parchment paper. hopefully. Yep, right there. And then you take a scoop like that. And then you just scoop your and you scoop your bread like that. And you make like multiple scoops of depending on how big you want it to be. You scoop it like this. Might have to make multiple batches, but it's okay. So guys, we are making cloud bread right now. Up to you guys on how cloudy you want it per se. You want to separate it. You can separate it. I think what I'll do is I'll make one batch. I'll bake the second batch afterwards. I didn't add anything extra to this. You could, like, if you want to, like, add like some cinnamon or some, like cinnamon sugar or something. You could, but I didn't. I'm just gonna bake it like this, and then do like a second batch afterwards. It takes like 15 minutes. You bake it at 350 for like 15 minutes. So we are making cloud bread, you guys. Like I said, you could do like a dessert one if you want to, like sprinkle some cinnamon on top or something like that. But it's entirely up to you. Or just leave it like that for now. It's 300 degrees right now, so it will take a little bit. Alright. Oh. Yeah. Well, not really quit music. I didn't quit music per se, but I am baking right now. I'm still a musician though. We're making I don't know if you have heard of cloud bread. We're making like a keto cloud bread. I'm waiting for the oven to I'm waiting for the oven to I'm waiting for the oven to heat up. Oh, the oven is ready. What you do is you put it in the middle you put it in the middle rack. Just put the timer on for 15 minutes. We got 2 minutes left. I don't know if I can show you guys. Let me turn the light on so you guys can see. You guys can see? You see how it's popped up? That's why it's called cloud bread. It pops up like that. Pops up like a cloud. You guys see that? That's how it gets its name. It pops up like a cloud like that. Isn't that cool though? That's what it looks like. Let it cool off first. Doesn't that look cool? I mean the cloud bread, like why it's called cloud bread, because it puffs up like that. Let it cool off and then I'll put it away. Should be okay. Yep. I have a spatula here that I could use to lift it off. I'll show you one of them. So I'm putting this away. You see the puffiness of it? That kind of looks like a cloud. That's how it gets its name. Cloud bread. I'm putting it away in like a plastic container like that. Oh. Yeah, so I can make like the second batch. It's very light and airy. Okay, now it's time to pour a second batch. You guys should try it. It's very simple. I have the recipe in my recipe section of my Discord. If you guys want to look up the recipe for it. Now put this in the oven. Okay. Number 2. Bake it for another 15 minutes or so. See? Cloud ready, guys. See how it puffed up like that? And pull it apart. It's kind of airy in the middle. You can always add like butter or something to it if you want it buttery, but it's not very buttery. Normally. As it's just cream cheese, egg, and baking powder. I think next time I'm going to maybe top it with some nuts or something. But this is fine the way it is, right? Doesn't have to have toppings. You could use toppings if you want to.